It's Kearney Live, presented by KMO-TV and 102.7 FM. Kearney Live takes a closer look at current issues and topics that matter to you. And now, here are the hosts of Kearney Live, Mike Davis, Jim Dickerson, and Stacy Bratcher.
And hello and welcome to Kearney Live. I'm Jim Dickerson along with Stacy Bratcher, and filling in for Mike Davis today is JoAnn Lawson. She's sitting here to my left. Good to have you here today.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Welcome everybody. And today we're going to talk a little bit about some COVID stuff. I know you want to hear it. Probably not what you're thinking about. Then we're also going to talk a little bit about veterans. I couldn't remember. I forgot already. We only talked about it 3 minutes ago, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about some Clay County stuff coming up. But first in the news, we want to remind you that Kearney's Magical Night is coming up next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, and it has the parade, and as I was informed by Stacy, all the other fancy stuff that comes along with it. And for those of you who cannot make it to the parade, well, first of all, if you are going to the parade, make sure you get there early. We say this every year. People don't believe us, and then they end up parking out on I-35 up near Iowa, and they're all upset. So get out there early and make sure you are there for that. There's also fireworks after the parade.
And Santa.
Santa's going to be there. I know him.
I do too. He's my favorite.
What else am I missing? What else is going to be? I know there's going to be the parade, and we will be out there. Oh, that's the other thing I was supposed to, the whole
Family
point.
activities downtown.
You're just reading. I thought you were going to go.
Kids' activities and crafts. Businesses will have unique activities for visitors between 7 and 9.
Really?
Yeah.
You knew that?
I
Have
did.
to look it up. The other thing is, if you can't make it out there, we will be covering it. Stacy, I, and Mike will be there. Mike will be back, I hope, by then. And we'll be out there, and we will be carrying it live on 102. Actually, it's not on the radio portion because a parade on radio would be stupid. So we're not going to do that.
It's on our Facebook and our Twitter, or not our Twitter, our YouTube. Just did the same thing you did, Jim. I don't know where we're posting this. And on our website, 1027carneymo.com.
So it'll be through the radio station, but the video portion, KMO-TV, and all that for all of you who follow. And the live stream on the website, if you didn't already say that.
Right.
And I forgot one more important thing. Say hello to our executive producer, Brian Watts.
Yay, Brian.
I didn't hear anybody clap.
Oh, I didn't either.
Where's the studio audience? They're asleep.
Nobody cares.
Wow.
Merry Christmas to you, Brian. The other news story I was supposed to talk about was so ridiculous, I'm not going to talk about it. Do you want to talk about bacon?
No.
So we had a discussion before the show started about, I got to tell you this. So I was at this restaurant. Nobody cares except me, but I'm going to tell you.
Nobody cares.
Did you know there are bacon squares that are they're like this big and this tall? This is the greatest thing
like
ever.
a 1x1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is
1x1
more
cube?
like a 2x2.
2x2 cube?
I wish we had a picture of it, but I didn't know they made bacon like this. And I tell you right now, if I had died at the table right there, I'd be fine with it because I had lived. That's enough of that, Stacy.
That's a hint for our local restaurants.
Yes.
Huh? They can add
If you
that
can
to
make
their
a bacon,
appetizers.
oh my gosh, a bacon square. The thing was like this. It's the greatest thing known to mankind.
Alrighty
But
then.
what have you got?
Well, if you haven't heard, public outrage over the new COVID-19 lockdown restrictions has fueled rare protests within China. No, there are not COVID lockdown restrictions here in America. This is in China.
Yet.
But with residents demanding the government to lift restrictions ahead of schedule, and some even calling for President Xi Jinping's resignation. We'll talk about it after this.
The Kearney Enrichment Council invites you to downtown Kearney for the 3rd annual Lighted Christmas Parade, followed by Kearney's Magical Night on Saturday, December 10th. The Christmas parade begins at 6 p.m. with lighted cars and floats downtown. After the parade, everyone is invited to enjoy Kearney's Magical Night at local businesses for family crafts, treats, and fun. At 7 p.m., Santa will make an appearance at City Hall to meet kids, and a giant fireworks display will close out the night at 8 p.m. It's the Kearney Enrichment Council's 3rd annual Lighted Christmas Parade and Kearney's Magical Night, Saturday, December 10th, downtown Kearney.
All right, well, record-breaking case numbers have caused a COVID storm to overtake China, impacting the country's economic prospects and fueling public unrest. The protests are the latest sign of building frustration with the government's intense approach to controlling COVID. China is the only major country that is still fighting the pandemic through lockdowns and mass testing, per the Associated Press. Videos across social media show people in Urumqi, the capital of Xizang region, chanting against the COVID restrictions after an apartment fire killed 10 people, according to the Wall Street Journal. Apparently, because of the lockdowns, people feel like they can't leave their apartments, even in the case of a fire. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson, firing back at criticism from the U.S., gave the following quote: "The price of freedom in the U.S. is 1 million COVID deaths, 40,000 gun deaths per year, and 107,000 fentanyl deaths in 2021 alone. The American people deserve something far better than that. What we want is to protect our people's lives and ensure them a better life." But to what extent? At what cost of freedom? By locking them in their houses and letting them burn alive? Senator Marco Rubio responds to these comments. Take a look.
I'm also reminded of the early days of COVID when Trump was in the White House and the media here was going on about how much of a better job China was doing than America was dealing with COVID. But what we're learning is that the people of China are human beings. Human beings don't like to be locked up. They don't like to be told they can't go out, they can't go to work, they can't socialize, they can't go see family members, they can't go to the entertainment and have fun for long periods of time by their government. And in every country in the world where that's been tried, people have rebelled. Even in a totalitarian state like China, we're now seeing that play out. And I think these things are going to continue. And I think it's the reaction of the Chinese government should be a wake-up call to the world. These people want to be the most powerful country in the world. If they do that to their own people, what will they do to you?
Exactly. If they'll do that to their own people, what will they do to you? Thoughts, Jim?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. The interesting part was my wife used to, when she was traveling, doing international travel quite a bit, I don't think it was in China, I think she was in Australia, but I'm not sure. But it was one of the foreign countries where they were doing the lockdowns. Mm-hmm. And when they went to the hotel, they were told, if there's a fire, do not leave the building, we will come get you. And for anybody who's seen a structure fire, right, those things go quick. Wow, you're not going to have time to go door to door shopping for people and make sure they get out. So that's one. I think one of the things that we're going to find through this whole COVID thing, and it's going to be years probably before we figure it out, but you're starting to see a little bit, is how politicized this thing got across the board. And it's no longer about the illness. It's about varieties of control is really what it's about. So we're already hearing that a lot of these things, so we know, here's what we know doesn't work. Locking everybody up in their house and that doesn't work. It doesn't, it's a viral thing, it's in the air. So locking people inside doesn't work. Right. My favorite part was the 6-foot thing where you stand 6 feet apart
from each other, yes.
They've now admitted they made that up. That was based on nothing. We just made it up. And if you thought about it at the time...
Isn't that based on spit patterns? Well, how far spit would fly?
let's use that one. Let's use that for an example, because you hear people argue all day long about masks. Do they work? Do they not? And my contention has been this. If masks were all that great, you would see nothing but mask research 24 hours a day about how great it is and how much it works. You don't see it. You know why? Because it isn't there. And the data that they do have is all kind of, well, we think they may work because this, and the solstice, and the moon was over here, and the tides were just right. So, but let's put masks aside. Let's use the 6 foot thing. You walk into a retail store. See, Brian, how I did that without naming one? You walk into a retail store, and there's these marks 6 feet apart, right?
Yep.
So here's my thing. When you stand on your dot, and Stacy's on her dot in front of me, 6 feet, and she moves up, does her air move up with her? In other words, don't I move into her air on her dot? Or is this like the Star Trek transporter room where we all just magically move up? And then, so the other...
I live in my own bubble,
yeah,
and
I'm
it goes with me.
What's going on? The other thing is, companies spend millions and millions and millions of dollars in air circulation, ventilation, so the air moves constantly. So standing on a dot isn't going to help you. No. But we got into this thing where if they told us to do something, we did it. And now we look back on it and we're like, this is so ridiculous. Right. And so the mask thing, the problem is, and then I'll shut up and let you talk for a minute. The mask thing is, what I think is the wearing masks actually didn't help us then, and it's hurting us now because it really kind of hurt our immune system. And so what's going on right now is you're starting to see a lot of people who are, the flu, like right now, is really, really bad. RSV. And as we all know, last year there were 0 flu cases. Amazing how that works. But now the flu is out of control, and I think a lot of it's because our immune system's shot.
That's a distinct possibility. You know, the thing about the 6 feet, it went away. If anybody was out shopping on Black Friday, there was no 6 feet. Everybody was just jammed together in long lines and no masks, and I haven't heard anything about a major increase. I really think that the government did overreact just a little bit on that. But I also think that the fact that the hospitals were incented for every COVID person did a lot to increase how many cases we really experienced. A lot of those cases were probably heart failure, or they had lung problems, and COVID just jumped right into the picture because they could get extra money. That may not be true, but I always felt that way.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think you're right. I had some very close personal doctor contacts. I'm trying to say this in a tactful way. Some friends of mine, and maybe some relatives that were doctors. They still are doctors, by the way. But they were complaining because they said, my patient died. My patient was going to die anyway, and they tested them and found out they had COVID, and they wrote it on the death certificate.
Sure.
And they were like, they're just writing out whatever they want. It has nothing to do with that. So
exactly.
That's where we got into this argument of, did you die of COVID or with COVID?
Yeah.
And so the same thing holds true with the flu and everything else. And it's just like when you die, you hardly ever, in fact, I don't think you ever see a death certificate that says, why'd they die? Old. They were just old.
Yeah.
There's always got to be a
Natural
cause
causes.
in there. And it'll say like heart failure or something like that. Well, when you die, correct me if I'm wrong, but your heart always fails at that point, doesn't it?
Yes.
Do you see many dead people and their heart's still going?
No, definitely
But
not.
all of your points are just spot on, because I think that's what we're beginning to see in China. We all followed the rules in the beginning because it was unknown. We didn't know, and so we were all cautious. As the information came out, we began to understand it better. Now we're all like, oh, no, we would never go into shutdown again. We will never do mass. You know, all these we know now what we didn't know then. And I think that's what we're seeing in China is they're still trying to impose the same you don't know what's really going on things on the people who now know, and they're rebelling. And I've always found it fascinating when countries like China rebel against their governments because they are brought up to have an instinctual trust in those type of governments.
Well, they're scared.
They are scared,
You know.
but now they're like, no, we're not going to take this anymore. really interesting.
And I don't know. It's kind of funny. I'm kind of surprised that our country, our government, has just gone dead silent on it. It's like we care about other countries when it suits us, and then
That's right.
if it really doesn't match what we want, then we really don't care as much.
Yeah.
So, it's like we wait to find. And my favorite part is, for those of you who are Twitter users and whatnot, it's like people wait. Are we allowed to be upset about this? Are we angry?
Yeah.
And then
we
everybody
angry?
just
Right.
unleashes.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a whole thing going on with China. For those who are watching the Twitter thing and TikTok and all that, and it all kind of ties, and Apple, and it all kind of ties
yeah.
together. So it's really an interesting thing. I will say, as far as the government goes, our government, when the Rona first came out, I get it. We didn't know what it was, and I get it. We went into Code 6 freakout mode. But the thing was, when we learned more about it, we didn't recover.
Right.
It's just like we stayed on the same path. And now it's like we don't have the ability to admit that we didn't know, or maybe, yeah, that didn't work, or it's like, no,
We
we
did
said
our
you need to
best.
do this, and we're going to
Yeah.
stick with this till the end.
Right.
We're never going to admit that we were wrong.
Yeah.
Over there, have they said how many people, if there's an increase in cases, or if they have dropped?
In China,
Uh-huh.
they're saying that it's a COVID storm, that it's refueled, and they now
Oh, okay.
have more cases than ever before,
Wow.
supposedly.
Wow.
But you've created your own problem, because you've killed your immune system, and then when people get back out, it's all going to bust loose again. So I think, but nobody asks me what I think
Yeah.
usually. But I don't know. So China aside, I wish we would, because we're starting to learn a lot. Mike talked about it a couple weeks ago, the depositions they're doing, all that. And then the funny thing is, they're deposing Fauci,
Yep.
who mysteriously now doesn't remember anything. He's like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. But, you know, he's all in, and I guess, I don't know if they've deposed Psaki yet. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to hear. But so they were all involved with big tech in what to release and what not to release. And that's the other thing. Nobody knows now what's true.
Yep, that's very true.
Yeah,
And you've created a whole thing of distrust, and nobody knows what to believe.
Yep,
exactly.
yeah. It has been. I mean, people are, when the shots first came out, I just went and got the shots. I thought, what the heck? You know, it's not going to hurt. Get it over with and maybe give me some percentage of protection. But now, you know, you keep going and getting the boosters, and people less wearing of the masks. Only time you have to wear a mask when you go into the doctor's office, which somehow
Not
just
even
doesn't seem
anymore.
right to me. But I just really think that we did overreact initially, and I think all of those things that they imposed on us and we blindly followed were totally unnecessary. But you know, you live and you learn, and from this point forward, I don't think.
Well, and they can't even get their messaging correct, because
No.
I know they're saying, I saw in the same day, I saw a thing where if you've had a booster not had a booster within a year, you need to get it. And then they said you can wait a year, and then they said you can wait 6 months. And then the same day, this guy came out and goes, man, if it's been more than 2 months, you need to get another booster. I'm like, how many of these things are you going to get? And that's a whole nother story. Am I taking us to break? I don't know. Coming up next, we're going to talk, JoAnn's going to talk to us about stuff going on at Clay County. So stay with us. You're watching Kearney Live.
Simplify your banking, simplify your life. It's easy with Kearney Trust Company. Kearney Trust goes beyond convenient locations and good customer care to offer banking services that make managing your finances quicker and easier than ever before. Online, bill pay, e-statements, and mobile banking are available to give you a positive banking experience so you can get back to your life and activities. Kearney Trust also provides capital to people and businesses so they can achieve their goals. Whether you know exactly what you want or just need someone to talk to about your dream, you can speak with them and work on that dream. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
Electric cooperatives are different. We have a sense of pride in our local community and support the people who live here. That's why Platte Clay Electric Cooperative supports local schools, takes an active role in economic development, and works hard to keep costs down for its members. We exist for one purpose, to empower communities and energize life with safe and reliable energy. To learn more about how Platte Clay Electric Cooperative is working to achieve that mission, visit www.pcec.coop. Platte Clay Electric Cooperative.
You may have noticed your shoulder hurting, or maybe a kink in your neck. The culprit may be looking right at you. Your phone. Think about how you use it. Does that pain feel familiar to you?
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Strathman with Kearney Family Chiropractic Center, and I've been practicing chiropractic health in Kearney for over 22 years. When you come to see me, I identify what's wrong and determine if I can help you. If I can, I create your personalized plan for relief.
When you have pain, you can make an appointment by calling 816-628-6738, or you can visit the office at 301 South Platte Clay Way, Suite B in Kearney. Kearney Family Chiropractic Center. Heal yourself.
Walnut Creek Vineyard and Winery. Walnut Creek serves their premium wines in true farm-to-table fashion. Their grapes are grown on small vineyards in Missouri and Colorado and pressed right here in Holt, Missouri. Their locally made wine pairs with their gourmet pizza and charcuterie boards. Walnut Creek Vineyard and Winery. Open Thursday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 90 North Main Street in Holt, or find them on the web at walnutcreekwine.com. Walnut Creek Vineyard and Winery, bringing farm to table to your glass.
Hey. Hi everyone, JoAnn Lawson here. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening at Clay County. I do want to let you know up front, I have no bacon stories, but I want to go on record by saying I love bacon. Have no problem with it. Anyway, right now, the new commission, as we're getting ready for this new form of government, we're all very excited about it, and I hope that everybody is ready for some action this coming year. What has happened with us is that we've been given volumes of new information. They've given us the budget. We've got to go over the budget. It's about this thick of a book. And each week we go into a different section of that budget. First it was kind of a general overview, and then the next thing will be the police, or sheriff's department, our law enforcement, all the new things that they've got planned, and the money that they need to operate properly. The next time we'll go into roads and bridges, which everybody is all wanting to hear about, I'm sure. And but we'll go through that budget completely. All of us will take office the first Tuesday of the month, January, and then we will be in session for our first time on the first Wednesday of the month, January. We're all excited about it, and everybody has kind of focused on three things. We focused on roads and bridges, we focused on the sheriff's department, our law enforcement needs, schools, whatever. And lastly, people want that budget to be controlled. You know, the thing that often happens in the government is that they lose sight of where that money comes from. It's not on a tree outside the courthouse that we can go out and just pluck some down. We're getting your money, our money, my money too. And so we need to be aware of that and be very, very cautious about how we spend that money. The roads and bridges, wow. We took a tour of I went on a tour with one of the gentlemen that's over the roads and bridges. And we looked at roads all over the county, you know, in towns that touched, you know, like a municipality, and then those out in the very rural areas, and looked at bridges, looked at some new bridges that were beautiful, but the cost of those bridges, it just blows your mind how much they cost, you know, anywhere from like 6 figures to 7 figures, and wow. It's crazy what it costs to do that, a bridge. But it's our safety, you know. We've replaced wooden bridges. If you think about that, a few years ago, replacing a wooden bridge, you know, in 2022, 2021, that we still had that. We've still got some gravel roads, not a lot, probably better percentage than any other county around here. But it is something we're going to heavily concentrate on, are the roads and the bridges. You want that safety. You also want people coming to the lake to have decent roads to go on, and you know, that's a great revenue source, is that, and the lake. And we're going to be looking at roads and bridges next, taking a tour of those and seeing, you know, all the new things that are coming out and how we can spend our money wisely and where we should spend the money. But at any rate, we're all excited about it. We're getting ready to hit the ground running. And I feel that everybody's focus is on doing things the right way, having a group of people that will work well together. You know, it's not just one person's idea, it's 7 people. And where 3 are sometimes difficult to work together, 7 is going to be 10 times more challenging. But I think everyone has the right mindset for it. So I'm really looking forward to this. And everyone has set it up so if you call the courthouse, you can go right to that commissioner. And they're more than willing to talk with you. And if they're on the line or in a meeting, everybody talks about how they're going to call back quickly and be available, have the government very transparent, which we definitely need after a couple of prior commissions. So we're excited about it, and hopefully we'll roll up our sleeves and get to work the first week of January.
Yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of people are it'll be interesting to see how it works. So when you had the previous commission where you had 3 commissioners, we know what happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be delicate on that one.
Yeah.
But where nobody got along and nothing really got done, and what did get done probably wasn't in the best interest of the county.
That's true.
Now this new commission, the commission that's in there currently, the 3-person commission now, has done a great job of working together, getting a bunch of stuff done. The concern is now we're going to 7.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's more difficult. I guess the concern is, it was kind of interesting, and we talked to Jerry Nolte about this too. When the problem was going on with the 3 commissioners, that's when this whole thing came up about changing the Constitution. You add the 7. Then the problem resolved itself, but we had already passed this Constitution. Now we're at 7. Is there any concern that we can revert, we could get into a situation where at least you won't have the 2-to-1. That'll never happen again.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you can have a bunch of infighting where nothing gets done.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't believe me, look at Congress.
Well,
But Is there any discussion about that, about, hey, we need to make sure, I'm not saying we have to agree on everything, but we need to make sure we're working towards the common goal?
I think in conversation with some of the other new commissioners, and Jerry Nolte has been a great stabilizing force, I will say that. He is always willing to sit down and talk to you if you have questions about, now wait a minute, I'm not sure on this procedure or whatever. Jerry's always willing to give you some guidance on it. In conversation with these other commissioners, I see a real strong willingness to pull together to do the right thing. And everybody's focus, which I was really tickled as we went to these different candidate forums, everyone's focus seemed to be on the budget, make it, be wise in what you spend, make sure that law enforcement has the things they need, make sure our roads and bridges are in good condition, protect the park, keep it updated, all kind of the same issues. So while I cannot say there won't be perhaps disagreements, hopefully when we have those, we'll handle it like adults and, have a good
Let's hope.
back and forth and then come to a decision everybody's happy with, or the majority is happy with.
I was going to say, what do you think the chances of that happening are, Stacy?
You're never going to please everybody. But
No.
I think it's great, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the example that the new commissioners set for the future. I think it's going to be great. I'm fascinated by the whole process of things, and you've alluded to it a little bit, that you've already received the budget, you've got volumes of things to look through. Tell us just a little bit, what happens between election night and January 1? It's not you just sit there on your hands and wait for January 1 to roll around. You're actually engaged already. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit further?
First thing was a lot of drinking.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. No, I was elated.
You know what would have helped? If you'd have had bacon in big squares.
I agree with that. A big piece of bacon and a beer. I mean, heaven. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I take that back.
I wouldn't take that back.
No, I'm kidding.
It's
I don't
bacon.
Yeah, it's bacon. What can we say?
So what was your question? No,
I got it. I do got it. I have it. Right away, the first thing, it wasn't within a week or so after. We were contacted. We went to a meeting at the courthouse and we kind of got a brief overview. We got all of our paperwork, but we also had kind of a little primer on how the departments are. We got our chain of command line out, and so we know who reports to who and how it comes down and back up. So that was really good. And then we started scheduling the tours. And, so everybody has been very active in everything. And we go to every commission meeting. I will say I was real pleased that the new commissioners came to every commission meeting. And we had a chance then in those meetings to get that budget overview again. Because when you look at those volumes of paperwork, for a moment you're staggered a little bit. And then as you get into it, it all starts to make good sense. But having that brief overview was fantastic. Really, really helped. And as we go through this tonight, as a matter of fact, this is the night that we'll look at the law enforcement. And then the following week we'll look at roads and bridges. So they're kind of giving us the chance to really get acclimated, coming to the commission meeting, see how it's going to be set up, how the procedures go. It'll take us Robert's Rules of Order and all that we've been trying to familiarize ourselves with. And so,
point of order.
Point of order, yeah. But no, it's been exciting. It really has, because while I was fortunate enough, my husband was in public office for a while, and I would go to some of the commission meetings, so you saw how it worked with the three. I went to quite a few commission before because it was interesting to see how that was going. And so I got that touch of that. But now it's going to be a whole new ball game with the 7 of us.
Yeah.
But I think it'll go well. I really have faith that it will.
Well, one thing I'm pretty excited to see, or happy to see, is I think this commission is pretty dedicated to the sheriff's office and making sure that they're
Yes.
funded properly and all that. And we
Yep.
know there's been a big thing for a long time about defund the police and all that sort of thing. But I think Clay County has been very strong on making sure the sheriff's office is funded. Let me rephrase that. After the
Now.
new commission took over, not the one that's taken over in January, but the one that took over
Yes.
2 years ago, I think
Right.
it was.
Yeah.
They've been very committed
Yes.
to making sure the sheriff's
Yeah.
office is funded.
And you know, one of the things that I'm so pleased about is that we have a great, great sheriff.
Yes.
Who? Will
What's
his
Aiken.
name?
What's his name? Will Aiken.
Will, you know
We
I
love you,
love you, Will. I haven't seen Will in a while anyway. It's probably because he's very busy out there.
He is.
But I'll tell you what, coming up next, you know, I was sitting there on Thanksgiving. I was not eating bacon.
Oh, okay. I'm going to ask that question.
But I should have. But I was sitting there on Thanksgiving. I was watching football, and then all the veterans ads started coming up, and I actually became angry. I'll tell you why Jim's angry coming up next.
Walnut Creek Vineyard and Winery. Walnut Creek serves their premium wines in true farm-to-table fashion. Their grapes are grown on small vineyards in Missouri and Colorado and pressed right here in Holt, Missouri. Their locally made wine pairs with their gourmet pizza and charcuterie boards. Walnut Creek Vineyard and Winery. Open Thursday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 90 North Main Street in Holt, or find them on the web at walnutcreekwine.com. Walnut Creek Vineyard and Winery, bringing farm to table to your glass.
You value choices when it comes to the products and services you bring into your home. That's why Platte Clay Electric Cooperative gives you control over the energy you use. PCEC offers members ways to save with energy efficiency rebates and demand billing. You even have the power to choose the resources used to produce your power. To learn more, visit www.pcec.coop/power. Platte Clay Electric Cooperative. Your power, your way.
Migraine headaches, the throbbing in your temples, the pounding in your forehead, extreme sensitivity to light and sound. Your neck feels so tight it could snap off. Oh, the debilitating pain.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Strathman with Kearney Family Chiropractic Center, and I've been practicing chiropractic health in Kearney for over 22 years. When you come to see me, I identify what's wrong and determine if I can help you. If I can, I create your personalized plan for relief.
When you have pain, you can make an appointment by calling 816-628-6738, or you can visit the office at 301 South Platte Clay Way, Suite B in Kearney. Kearney Family Chiropractic Center. Heal yourself.
Online banking at Kearney Trust Company gives you 24/7 access to your checking, savings, money markets, CDs, and loan accounts. You can access your accounts anytime from your home, office, and mobile devices. Online banking with Kearney Trust combines convenience and flexibility to bank on your own terms. Kearney Trust Company is a partner for success with 2 locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
Stacy's complaining about the music when when we were coming back from break, but that's okay. Oh, I actually like it. It's very soothing. But Stacy, she'll get over it. So there I was on Thanksgiving night, actually Thanksgiving Day, and I was watching my annual Thanksgiving football games, and a bunch of commercials started to come on for disabled veterans. And then they started, this is after they were talking about the turducken, by the way, which is not
I was wondering about
that.
that.
Yeah, the turducken, I'm going to have one of those. But anyway, commercials started coming on for disabled veterans, and there were one commercial after another. And then they wanted me to donate $19 a month for the disabled veterans, and I actually became upset. But let's take a look at what I saw a little bit of.
My vehicle was sent 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I thought I was going to die.
It ripped my arm off. It broke my right femur.
I took such a hard blow to the head that my retina was torn apart.
Your gift today of $19 a month can help us provide the programs and services desperately needed by our wounded service members. You'll honor and empower them so they can aid and assist each other.
They've personally impacted my life, and they've personally impacted thousands of lives.
Call or go online with a pledge of $19 a month and you'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
There are so many men and women in the battlefield. The greatest casualty is being forgotten.
Please don't forget our wounded warriors. Make that call now.
I am an American veteran.
I serve the people of the United States of America.
I never accepted defeat.
Never left the fallen brother behind. I never gave up.
I am an American. I show my veterans I haven't forgotten them by supporting disabled American veterans.
I support those who served for me.
I will never stop showing gratitude for their sacrifices.
So those commercials were on one after another, and the more I thought about it, the more upset I got. And the reason is this. In a time when we are donating money from this country all over the world, and with nothing to say about it, we give billions of dollars here, there, and there. These are men and women who have fought for our country and are in these conditions, and you saw just some of them in the commercial, but there are few of hundreds and hundreds that are permanently affected for the rest of their lives because they put their lives on the line for us so that we could enjoy our freedoms as Americans. And now they are having to rely on private companies or fundraising companies like these. Now, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, thank God for these places that do this, and do contribute to those places. But my point is this, we shouldn't be in a position where we should even have this discussion. We should, the people that you saw in those videos and people like them who've served our country should want for nothing for the rest of their lives. The government that we pay money to should be taking care of these people, and they should want nothing. It should all be provided, and we have the funding to do it. It's where we funnel the funding, and that's the part that upsets me. I do not understand why we should, and you've got Tunnel to Towers as a similar group. I don't understand why this should even be needed.
That's a great question, Jim. I hadn't honestly even thought about it in that context. You're absolutely right. Why aren't we taking care of our freedom fighters, of those who lay down their lives for us so that we can sit here and talk about bacon? As you know, I come from a law enforcement family, and we do have history in our family of those who have served. And it's so incredible that many of our veterans, they don't even know that they won medals. They don't even know that they can get medical attention from the VA hospitals. Where is the follow-up for these individuals to understand, now that you've served, here's the things that you get and you can take advantage of. But to your point, Jim, why aren't they just being taken care of? Why are we feeding money into all of these, what was it called, pork belly initiatives, instead of just taking care of those who have served, who have voluntarily served their country.
And the other thing that comes up that really upsets me is when you hear military veterans talk a lot about, they'll talk about going to the DAV and what a bad experience it is. And this is one of those things where, in my opinion, the veterans that we have who have to go to the DAV for whatever reason, they should be getting the top-notch care, the best of the best. They should be treated like royalty when they walk in.
That's right.
And all you hear is story after story about how bad it was and how bad the facility was and everything else. I think these should be the best facilities in the world, and that's where our military people should go.
That's exactly correct. My husband is a veteran, and we do go out to the Veterans Administration from time to time. He gets some medicine out there. They do some, work on his little disabilities. But the thing is, you're right. It's huge. It isn't well staffed now. They're a little short with staff as well. I always feel as though once you're there, they're very caring. But you have to go back to the people that come back from that have been in action. They come back with all of the problems they have emotionally as well as physically. And it ought to start with how much money they get paid in the first place to be in the service. When Jay was in the military, I think he got little of nothing. And I got a check for like $130 a month. And we lived on that. Of course, we lived on base, but still you had to buy groceries. It would be so bad that when it came to the day before payday, we couldn't find 20 cents to go to the base movie. We were looking under pillows and every place else for a couple of dimes to be able to go to a show. Wow. So, our military people aren't paid well, and they're trained well. I'll give them that. But then when they come back from the situation that they've been in, I think immediately there ought to be somebody right there saying, what can we do to help? Here's the person you need to get in touch with. And there ought to be a whole thing set up for them to be handled like you say, like the most important people in the world, most definitely.
And you bring up a good point. So it kind of compounds itself, and that is this. We don't pay the military well at all, and that's well known. If I'm a young man or woman and I want to go into the military, my first question is why? I'm not going to make a lot of money. I can go do this, that, or the other and make a lot more money. I think if we would focus the military on a career, as a career, and we treated those people properly because of what we're asking them to do. I mean, if you go work, and I'm not going to name a company, but if you go to work for a company, how many companies do you walk in the door and they say, now there's a good chance you could die or you get disabled? Nobody would do it. So I think we should start at the very beginning. And military folks, it would help you in so many ways. Number one, if you take care of your military folks and treat them like they should be treated, number one, you're going to get more people to apply, and that's going to allow you to be more selective, which means that's going to allow you to pick the best of the best. I met with some military folks over the week, or just a couple nights ago, actually, and one of the problems was they said, we're having to lower
their standards,
our requirements and standards to get in, and the discussion became exactly that. But we have no benefit. We're going to train them, and you're right, the training is great, but the fact of the matter is, you need money, and for all the money we give away to everything. I mean, we get Mike in here and have him start talking about money that went to Ukraine. We did that, and we give money away freely, like it just grows on that tree you were talking about.
And to people that hate our guts.
Well, there's that,
yeah.
And so why aren't we paying our people? The people that are serving our country, should be paid handsomely.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is, to go along with that, so let's say you're in the military and you're making great money. Aren't you going to do more and more to make sure you keep that job? In other words, you're going to perform tip-top because you do not want to lose that position. Right now, people join the military and they know what their commitment is. You always hear them talk about their commitment. My commitment's 4 years. My commitment's 6 years. You don't hear them talk in terms of this is going to be my career.
Yeah.
And so I think you could solve, I mean, the problem is we have the money. That's the most frustrating part.
Yes.
If we were sitting there going, man, where would we come up with the money? We have it. And if we'd stop giving it to everybody else, I think it'd be so much better. And go back to the point of, it infuriates me and it baffles me the fact that we're not taking care of those who you saw in those commercials that were wounded, disabled,
horribly.
Whatever the case may be. I think that they should never want for anything in their life again.
Nope.
They should be taken care of. And it just amazes me that we're even in this position.
It's indicative of so many other programs, though, not just government, but private sector as well, where we come up with these great ideas. Hey, let's do this. And, oh, yeah, okay, let's do it. And they do it, but they don't think it all the way through. They don't follow through with the entire program. They take care of one need, but then that creates more needs, and they
That's
don't.
exactly right.
I've tried to teach my children that before you act on something, think it through. What could possibly happen, the negative and the positive, and try to cover all of your bases. But we all it's so knee-jerk reaction.
It is. It most definitely is. And, you know, talking about the money, here again, the government loses sight of where that money comes from. True. They really, really do. They think they've got funds. They can just spend any way they want to and whatever they want and where they want to send the money. And there's not America first. I realize we have to foster good relationships with other countries, but let's take care of what we've got in our own backyard, and then if you can help somebody else, I'm all for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have the chance, make sure, obviously that's not going to happen anytime soon where the government's going to take over. So if you have a chance, by all means, go out and either contribute to one of those groups or however you feel. But I cannot stress that we need to take care of our service people, our current and former.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay with us. We'll be right back with final thoughts.
The Kearney Enrichment Council invites you to downtown Kearney for the 3rd annual Lighted Christmas Parade, followed by Kearney's Magical Night on Saturday, December 10th. The Christmas Parade begins at 6 p.m. with lighted cars and floats downtown. After the parade, everyone is invited to enjoy Kearney's Magical Night at local businesses for family crafts, treats, and fun. At 7 p.m., Santa will make an appearance at City Hall to meet kids, and a giant fireworks display will close out the night at 8 p.m. It's the Kearney Enrichment Council's 3rd annual Lighted Christmas Parade and Kearney's Magical Night, Saturday, December 10th, downtown Kearney.
Hey, welcome back to Kearney Live. Final thoughts, Stacy.
All right, well, the ever-popular Best of Rural Missouri Reader's Choice Contest is back for the 20th time. This popular contest gives you the opportunity to share your favorite rural Missouri restaurants, destinations, and activities. Enter the contest online at ruralmissouri.org, Best of 2023. By voting online, you're entered to win a sweepstakes prize package valued at $500.
Ooh.
To celebrate Missouri's uniqueness, please, never mind.
Don't do that.
I didn't edit what I was reading, sorry. So ruralmissouri.org, Best of 2023. It would be so fun if we saw some Kearney businesses listed this year.
Outstanding. JoAnn.
Yeah, well, I just want to wish everyone a wonderful Christmas. I won't probably see you before then. We'll be going to the parade, however.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm sorry, I've been told it's the magical night.
The magical night.
Do not call it the parade. I got yelled at earlier for
Christmas
that.
parade at Magical
I'll
Night.
be going to the magical night. See you all there. God bless you all, and look forward to a great 2023.
Well, speaking of 2023, one of the things that's nice about the holidays is going out and traveling. And if you travel in airports, the beauty of that is how many aviation experts there are in the airport. Now, foregoing Stacy's husband, who thinks that airplanes fly themselves, we'll let that go for now. I'd like you to listen to this aviation expert in a local airport just the other day.
When they plug it in like that, that's how they charge it. And I think it gives them like a 5-hour range so that you can fly the plane all on electricity. Isn't that crazy?
Seriously? So if you didn't notice, there's a plug that's plugged into the plane, and this woman is explaining to everybody in her ultimate wisdom and knowledge of how that charges the plane and it flies on batteries. That is not what that is. That is not what that is. There is no commercial airplane like that that flies around on batteries. I'm just going to throw that out there. And for a plane to fly for 5 hours that size, can you imagine how big the batteries would have to be? It'd be as big as the airport. Anyway, I digress. For those of you who are wondering, it's a power cord, nothing more. That's all. That's all it's got.
So it is powering the plane. It's just not.
Powering the plane on the ground, but it's basically, in its simplest terms, so that the airplanes, not to get into a big thing, have what's called an APU. That's what makes the noise when the plane's, and it gives power. But you don't want to burn all that fuel, so they basically just plug it in. It's like plugging it into the wall, and it runs the electrics, the electrical stuff while people are getting on, trying to save energy, trying to be good to the environment. But it's not charging the battery, or it's not a battery. Whatever she said, I don't know. Thanks for joining us on Kearney Live. The best of Kearney Live will be on next week, as we will be over at the Chamber with Stacy.
Yay!
And then make sure you join us the following week on Kearney Live. Mike should be back, and Magical Night is the following Saturday.
And go eat some bacon.
Eat some bacon. JoAnn, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure to have you. We will see you next time on Kearney Live. Have a good one.